You've arrived at Tosin's Corner, a quiet little place full of loud, messy stories. We don't judge. Much. Like and subscribe if you enjoy watching strangers spiral in high definition. Now, let's begin. Today's story is from Moriloqui. This is the first time I'm hearing someone wish their partner had cheated. But let's get into the story. My wife was left alone for, and I wish she'd just cheated instead. I need you to understand something. She didn't cheat. What she did was worse. She lost her damn mind. You see, I was away on a work trip for 3 weeks. Just 3 weeks. Germany. Simple. I left a fully functional adult at home. What I returned to was Crumzilla, the bathrobe queen, and a traumatized schnauzer. By day 2, she decided to make sourdough. From scratch, with 0 baking experience. Using what she thought was yeast. It was Epsom salt. The result? A rock-hard gluten death ball that cracked our marble countertop. She named it Crumzilla. She displayed it on the windowsill like a war trophy. She even said, "It's not a baking fail. It's performance art." Our dog hasn't entered the kitchen since. At some point, she decided to go all raw vegan. She ordered 19 pounds of produce from a website that may or may not have existed yesterday. Half of it arrived moldy. The rest? She juiced. Exclusively. Just juice. For a week. No solids. She got so dizzy she mistook the laundry hamper for the fridge. I only know this because she texted me, confused why the freezer was soft. All our frozen meals. Liquefied. The next photo she sent me was her drinking kale juice in a bathrobe that looked like it had fought in a war. She captioned it, "Cleanse the aura. No regrets." I had regrets. From a whole other continent. Let's just pause here, because I need a moment. So then she orders 19 pounds of produce from some sketchy organic site. Half arrived moldy. The other half? She juiced. Exclusively. For a whole week. No food. Just juice. She got so dizzy she confused the laundry hamper with the freezer and stored frozen meals in it. They melted. It became soupy underwear. She's texting her husband from her bathrobe like she's Gwyneth Paltrow at war with digestion. "Ma'am, this isn't a cleanse. It's a cry for carbs." And this is on top of the failed Crumzilla. She went fermentation mode. So she video called me. I thought maybe she missed me. Nah. She turned the camera around and said, "Do you want to see what I made?" Now, when your wife says that, you're hoping for a new dish. Maybe a painting. Maybe something not terrifying. But no. She walks me through the kitchen like she's giving a home and garden tour of spiritual madness. Kombucha. Everywhere. Massive jars. Floating things inside. One was bubbling like it had opinions. Each jar had a name. Zen Lemon Love. Oceanberry Blaze. Goddess Vinegar. One literally just said Awakening. I blinked. She said, "Don't worry. I've calibrated the pH for self-love." She was petting one of them. Petting. Then she looked me in the eye, through the camera, and said, "The SCOBY and I have been bonding. I think it understands me better than you do." I didn't even have the energy to fight. I just nodded, like a hostage. And I swear, the dog in the background was giving me the same look.
Okay, hold on, because I need a minute. Kombucha? Exploding kombucha? See, this is what happens when you leave grown toddlers unsupervised with access to Pinterest and fermented chaos. And now she's live streaming her homestead journey, like it's a redemption arc and not a biohazard event waiting to happen. I'm not even mad at the mess. I'm just confused how someone can accidentally start a science project in the fridge and call it a lifestyle. If I ever leave my future spouse alone for 3 weeks and they turn the kitchen into a bubbling lab of doom, just know cheating would have been less stressful.
Bathrobe life plus Dog's emotional damage. After the kefir exploded across the kitchen like a dairy-based rebellion,
Last night, I
she stopped
landed.
pretending to be fine. She texted me, "Pop-Tarts and peanut butter. That's balance, right?" Followed by a photo of her eating both, in a bathrobe. The same bathrobe. Every day. I swear that robe used to be white. Now, beige, with depression. By the second week, it looked like it had been in the trenches. Soup stains, mysterious crusts, and one stubborn coffee patch shaped like regret. But the worst part? The dog. He wouldn't go near her. I got a video call, and all I could see in the background was him dragging his blanket to the hallway, like a tiny PTSD patient checking into his own rehab. He blinked into the camera at me. Slow. Judging. "You left me here." I've never felt such shame from a schnauzer.
Okay, hold on a second. Let's just pause this descent into probiotic madness. So far, this woman has declared war on her internal organs with homemade kefir, which, let's be honest, is basically fermented spite in a mason jar. And then she downgraded from functioning human to unwashed wizard in soup-stained robes. Pop-Tarts and peanut butter, bold nutritional strategy. The dog's gone nonverbal. It's giving mom needs supervised care. And I swear, if one more cultured dairy product enters this storyline, I'm filing a restraining order on behalf of everyone's gut lining. All right, break's over. Let's dive back into this beautiful domestic breakdown, shall we?
Last night I landed, exhausted, jet-lagged, and already mentally preparing to step over chaos and pretend it's a normal Tuesday. I open the door and boom. The living room hits me with the force of fermented ginger and the unmistakable scent of disappointment? Regret? Possibly both. It's like someone tried to brew tea, kombucha, and despair in the same pot. Before I can even process it, she rushes at me in what can only be described as a fashion emergency. Robe flapping wide open, a jar of pickles in one hand, and a half-knitted scarf swinging from the other like she's a grandmother in training going through a midlife crisis. She wraps herself around me like a robe-scented burrito of affection and stress. Apparently, she took up knitting to relax her stomach. I didn't question it. I didn't even blink. I just accepted. The dog, however, had a full emotional arc. Relief, joy, then betrayal. His eyes screamed, "You left me with this." But I came bearing treats, and forgiveness was swift. I sat down, looked at her, and debated whether to bring up the questionable behaviors, or just roll with the fact that I was now married to a robe-wearing pickle, knitting philosopher.
This morning, I wake up to her whispering, "I think I'm a kombucha now." And I wish I could say that was the most disturbing part. But no. She burped. In her sleep. Loudly. Like a carbonated soul trying to escape a possessed mason jar. The dog? He's now fully relocated. Moved his bed into the bathroom like he pays rent there. I walked in and found him curled up on the bath mat, avoiding eye contact like a man who's seen too much. I tried calling him over. He sighed. Actually sighed. His betrayal wasn't subtle, it was soulful. The look he gave me said, "You abandoned me to a woman who's fermenting." And honestly, he's right. I don't even know if I should talk to her or sanitize her. What's the protocol for living with someone who's decided they're a probiotic? I grabbed my keys and said I was going out for coffee. The dog followed. He didn't ask questions. He just knew. He needed air. I needed therapy. So here I am. At a cafe. With a silent, traumatized schnauzer. Who's still side-eyeing me like I'm responsible. I'm drinking espresso like it's holy water. The barista asked if I wanted oat milk. I laughed for too long.
Okay, pause. Let me just
process what I've heard so far. So, he walks into his house, finally, and is immediately hit with the scent of fermented ginger and psychological distress. Like, welcome home, soldier, here's your trauma blanket and a jar of pickles. And she's there, arms wide, robe flapping like a haunted shower curtain, offering him a half-knitted scarf. For her stomach. Mom, are you knitting your intestines a cardigan? Is that where we are now? And just when you think we've reached peak weird, she declares herself a kombucha. Not likes kombucha, not drinks kombucha is kombucha. That's an identity crisis wrapped in gut flora. And now, the dog, the real MVP, has exiled himself to the bathroom like Hez the divorced parent in a family sitcom. I don't know who's more emotionally damaged here, the schnauzer or me. So, our guy did what any sane person would do, he fled to a cafe. Therapy via espresso. Trauma bonding with a judgmental dog. Honestly, same. But the fact that this man is recounting all of this like it's a mild inconvenience is giving me stress wrinkles. Send help. And maybe a sage cleansing. I fear we are spiritually unwell.
Eventually, I went back home. The air was still faintly infused with spiritual vinegar, but it was quieter. She looked up at me. Robe still clinging to dear life. There was a pout on her face. Not a kombucha-induced one. An actual human emotion. I thought you left because I've been acting crazy, she said. I blinked. Oh, so you do realize you've been acting crazy? She nodded. I'm glad you're back to your normal self, I replied. Then I added, calmly but firmly. Now the bathrobe has to go. And you owe the dog an apology. A sincere one. Paw Prince the dog, by the way, peeked from the bathroom, hopeful. But still sleeping with one eye open.
Okay. Let's play devil's advocate. And angel's advocate for a second. I've seen some people in the comments say this story is just painting the wife as some useless mess without her husband around. And honestly, I get why some people might think that, on the surface, yeah, she spiraled. But let's dig a little deeper, shall we? This wasn't some helpless housewife trope. This was someone trying. She tried fermenting. Tried brewing. Tried knitting scarves to soothe her gut. Okay, yes, she also tried to become kombucha itself, but haven't we all been there metaphorically? To me, this isn't about chaos versus calm. It's about what happens when we finally have space and no distractions. Sometimes we bloom. Sometimes we unravel. Sometimes we turn Kefi into a sentient monster and emotionally scar the dog. And honestly, I'd rather have my partner make a mess than cheat. If you're gonna lose your mind, do it in a robe with soup stains, not someone else's bed. So no, I don't think this story is some cautionary tale about wives needing husbands to function. I think it's just about what boredom, loneliness, and a little too much fermented tea can do to any of us. Well, that was all for today, and thank you for listening in. I hope your coffee was as full as mine was. Until then, see you next time. Hope you're ready for next chaos.